Why do we do what we do? I don't mind. I hope I'm not reaching or being assumptive. But my adage is, excuse me, I'm just adjusting my video here. This is just background here. Give you something to look at instead of looking at my face. How's that? Nice, beautiful stream, nice hut, nice place to be. um, but where I'm going with this, why do we do what we do? And where I'm going with this is that, let's say you're going to marry somebody, right? Now, here's this a general a storyline. Okay, man is about to marry a woman, or the woman's about to marry a guy, right? She's got so much. She's been given so much of an inbreeding. That's why some families are very, and sometimes it's good if you come from a good family, by the way, and you know that you do, a caring, loving, good family. Don't let rebellion and don't let stupidity guide you away from them. They will have your best interests at heart. Okay? And the thing is also is that there are going to be people who also has your best interest in their heart. Okay? Which means that they're going to see that you're very interesting, that you have a shine, that you have potential, and they are going to scope you and they're going to want. Because when people want something from somebody else, it's only because they're too lazy to go do it for themselves. And these kinds of people are not looking for a hard way out. They're looking for an easy way. And guess who you are? You're going to be the hardship that provides the easy way out for them. You're the one that's going to go into the jungle, fight the snakes, fight whatever, and bring back the spoils while they sit in their ass and gets to enjoy life, right? We do what we do. Why do we do what we do? And this is going to be, someone that put it this way. One of the biggest questions you should be asking yourself before you ask what is the whys. Why am I doing this? Why am I going here? Why am I going to choose that career? Because all these things really matter. You're going to spend a lot of your time in the what. And if you don't ask the whys before you did the what, you're going to ask deeper whys after the fact, after the what. And those whys are going to be in a place that's going to give you not God's wisdom, but it's going to give you experiential wisdom, the kind that's going to beat you up so badly. And you are going to figure out why you do what you do. Everyone has a certain level motivator. Some people even call it the critic living inside. I grew up in an environment where I had a sibling that was close to me who seemed to like to find fault, and it took the higher place in the role, the relationship between myself and this person. And years went by in my life, and I always try to wonder why I kept doing what I was doing, and why I didn't understand the why, of course, but I found myself consistently in situations with that same critic showing up in other people and doing things. And let me just backtrack a little bit. Is that if you're around people who, when you're doing something, and as soon as they come into your environment, you start to mess up, That is your critic. And that is a person that you don't want to have in your life. Guaranteed. They may not even understand it. They may not understand, but the information between you and them is that they are literally causing you to go topsy turvy. They're literally just their presence alone. I chose a career to end up becoming very stressful. And although I didn't even figure it out, a lot of the same type of hypercritics showed up throughout my career. Just because of this one sibling who left such an impression in my life. Did I like what was going on between me and him? No. Did I want it to change? Of course I did. But it found residence. It became a very powerful, invisible person living inside of me. And you will learn this in life, that the people who are more aggressive towards you are going to have a higher place of power and influence in your life, because that's exactly what they're doing. They are injecting like an inoculation, like a syringe. They are intentionally, and even though you may think that they don't know it, people on some level know when they're injecting you with some kind of stupid, ridiculous poison that's going to affect your life. Why you do what you do, a lot of the times it is going to be because of the main, because we have many different types of influences in our life, but the situation, the whatever it is that has found the main seat in your life is going to be the one who is a navigator of your directions. Guaranteed. And I found through my life with a sibling, instead of choosing to confront and deal with it, I stayed quiet, and I stayed to the point of and that's how I coped with this interactions in my earlier years of my life. I never, and I found that throughout my life, the voice that I should have had back then, I lost when I could have used it to stop somebody who was doing something to me right then and there. I became subjected to public humiliation in a work setting because some jackass decides that the only way he's going to get any kind of attention is to focus. And by the way, that's not a thing too, why you do what you do. And I'm focusing this inspiration towards people who are actually special. They're different, right? And special people are meant to do special things. They, whether some people say they've been placed on this earth, they're I'm not saying abusers or people who don't even know sometimes that they're doing what they're doing. I could have solved a lot of the situations between me and him if I only would have been more vocal, and maybe he would have understood what he was doing. But I chose to stay quiet and not waste my breath. Whether I chose fear, whether I chose that I in a situation where I didn't want to have it get to a higher level, because sometimes too, when people are doing what they're doing, whether psychopathy is involved, sociopathic, or they're just downright out wired for just being an idiot, one way or the other, is that the situations a lot of times, and it is, a lot of people even said that too, don't really change when you're dealing with people who are more aggressive than you are, whether it be microaggressions or outright out aggression, right? Throughout learning my life is that God, and I will say this because the more I prayed about it, I found situations started to increase until I finally found my voice, until something started to happen inside of me that could have happened decades ago. And I found I become very stronger and very determined that, that line I just drew, you're not stepping over. And if you do, I'm gonna publicly embarrass you. I'm going for it 100%. And if you hit me, go right ahead. But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go at it. I'm not gonna back down. And when I started to do more of this, when I started experiences started to increase in my latter years, God in his loving kindness knew that it was the only way to break free from it. And why you do what you do will always be based upon who is being doing in you invisibly. They're still living inside of you. They're living in your rumination in the back of your mind. They're living when those situations come up and you find that the first person that pops into your head is that person or situation that has had the government, the place. Now, some people say, well, I think it has a lot to do with unforgiveness. Yes and no. See, God, Jesus went in a line of forgiveness. He says, if your brother sins against you or your sister, your mother, or even a situation, go alone with them and tell them what they've done. The problem in that government of a more healthier environment, that's it. But Jesus goes on, he says, and if they still won't listen to you, then go and bring a second person with you. If they still won't, then bring the higher people, the wise people in the environment, and have them hear it out. If they still won't hear you, then let that person be to you as the heathen, which means total outsider. I don't know, you're a stranger. Bang, forget it. You're out. You're literally one big X on you, right? That's where forgiveness goes. Some situations, sometimes you just have to bypass the part where it's not you're going to ruminate what they've done to you, but you learn to get healed from what they've done and move on. Then sometimes if you need to make that in your head and start that situation over with them, and you have to just recreate it, that you start telling them how you feel. And you know them well enough that the thing they're going to do is just going to laugh in your face or just not basically take it seriously. You bypass the whole thing and you put a big X on them. They're not going to be in life. They're rejected. Later on in my life, when I started to figure out what and who was actually affecting my life in a very deep way, I began to say, that's enough. And that's when things began to really become more happier inside of me. It's amazing. I started to feel much more lighter. I started to experience a sense of, I can do anything. You know, that's another thing, but why you do what you do. You will find your doings will be hindered and hampered and on a lower grade than what you know you're capable of because you're carrying something in your life that is haunting you. So I'm just going to keep my video short. You discover, and you know what? People will go for miles out in the middle of nowhere searching for gold and precious metals, precious stones, and so on and so forth, or even go looking for the dream job. I will tell you this. I'll tell you that. I hate when people say that, by the way. I'm going to inspire you to do this. No one should be telling you anyway, by the way. So let me say, if someone tells you something, say, you know what? Okay, that's it. Bye-bye. Right? So I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to offer some friendly advice. Is that whatever that monkey is on your back, whatever that thing is that you're carrying, spend the time, take some time out from life. You can still be working, but back away from people, whatever you're doing, and spend some time in silence, alone, and start to rehash what happened, understand the whys of what's going on, and deal with it. And God, right before His presence, you deal with it by talking to God. And by the way, if you want to have the best therapy in your life, and it does work, whether people can want to use all these different psychological mumbo jumbos that it works because God is really there. You will come away from your prayer time having a sense of relief, wisdom, insight that you never knew. You'll even have dreams that you never even knew about a situation. You go, wow, I never saw it that way. Wow. And then all of a sudden you start joining the dots. So I'll leave you with this. Take the time out and find the precious stones of dealing with the issue of the whys. Because once it's dealt with and it's lesser of its hold in your life, you will find you're much more freer to go on and be free. Nobody has the power to control you, but what's haunting you. Have a good day and do like and subscribe. Thank you.